times 5, that's 26,000 pounds of frozen chicken wings.
26,000 pounds. I still can't really picture it, but it does beg the question, why? Why would someone need that many chicken wings? Local residents are understandably concerned.
Did they recover the chicken wings? I mean, are we out of the is it a total loss?
First thought, that's you're gonna need some hot sauce with that.
$65,000 of chicken wings? Sounds like a well-planned heist to me with the Super Bowl coming up.
That is a pretty sound theory. 26,000 pounds of wings would be quite the centerpiece for one heck of a blowout Super Bowl party. And it was well-timed, if ill-fated, heist, because chicken wings are at an all-time high price this year, according to the National Chicken Council. They say that Americans will eat 1.23 billion chicken wings over the Super Bowl weekend, enough to stretch from San Francisco to Baltimore 27 times. Suddenly, 26,000 pounds of stolen wings, it seems, well, poultry. I mean, paltry in comparison. Thank you very much. I'll be here all week. Maybe those guys were just trying to realize a dream of opening a smallish renegade Hooters. Speaking of Hooters, do you know that you're eating chicken wings the wrong way? Apparently, the way to get the most out of your chicken wing is to not just cram it sloppily in blue cheese dressing and then gnaw on it like some caveman. I guess you're supposed to debone it, but don't take it from me. Take it from an expert.
You pick up the wing on either end and pull in opposite directions. Give it a little twist. Find the 2 remaining bones, twist, and pull. And voila, Hooters. The wing is our thing.
That's my gift from me to you before you get down with more than 1 billion chicken wings this weekend. Now you can do it the civilized, Hooters-approved way. Yes, thanks to the dream team of Anderson Cooper and some lady from Hooters on YouTube. This year, you won't be just winging it. That does it for us. We'll be back 1 hour from now. Another edition of 360, 10 p.m. Eastern. Join us for that. Piers Morgan tonight starts right now.
Tonight, breaking news on that desperate standoff in Alabama. A kindergartner held hostage in a backyard bunker. I'll talk exclusively to the suspect's neighbors.
He has been like a time bomb waiting to go off.
Plus the NRA and gun victims face to face.
We must do something.
We're both gun owners, and we take that right and the responsibilities that come with it very seriously.
Law-abiding gun owners will not accept blame for the acts of violent or deranged criminals.
There is only one thing that will stop the next copycat killer, and that is lawful armed self-defense in the schools.
We urgently need Congress to address the rising epidemic of gun violence in this nation.
I'll talk to that police chief. And my exclusive interview with Michael Jackson's father. Joe Jackson speaks out as he rarely has before.
They treated him like Howard Hughes. Family couldn't get to him like they should have.
This is Piers Morgan Tonight. Good evening. We'll get to the gun debate in just a few moments, but including Gabby Gifford's dramatic appearance on Capitol Hill today. But while she was speaking, another daily reminder of why this is so important. 1 person dead, 2 wounded, and a shooter on the run after an attack in a Phoenix office building. Police say the attack did not appear to be random. But we begin with breaking news on another situation, a hostage crisis in Alabama. Negotiators are desperately trying to free a 6-year-old boy held hostage in a backyard bunker since the suspect allegedly took him off his school bus yesterday after shooting and killing the driver. Listen to this exclusive video of police negotiators talking to the gunman.
Yeah.
Joining me now are 2 of the suspect's neighbours, Rhonda Wilbur and Casper McNitch. Welcome to you both. Start with you, if I may, Rhonda Wilbur. You know this gentleman, Jimmy Lee Dykes. He's 65, I believe, and you've had concerns about him for some considerable time. Tell me why.
Well, he was just strange. I sold him the property about 2 years ago, and I'd cleaned it out very nice, trimmed all the trees and treated them. And after he moved on the property, then he put up a barbed wire fence, started cutting down all the trees like he had a clear view of anything so that he wasn't attacked or something. And so really I pretty much just avoided him. Heard a lot of rumors, a lot of things that went on, but like I say, I basically just tried to avoid him.
And Rhonda, you had an incident involving your dog, I believe, which was pretty terrifying.
Yes, sir. I live directly across from him, and as a matter of fact, that the video that was aired, that was taken by my son in my front yard, and he made it very clear as soon as he moved in that any animals or people that came onto his property would be killed. And he took one of my dogs, went across the middle part of the road, and it was a 125-pound dog. He took a lead pipe and he beat the dog until the dog was so badly injured that it died several days later. But that wasn't enough for him. He felt the need to stop my husband, and he bragged to my husband about having beaten our dog to death, and said that was what was going to happen to anyone or anything that came onto his land. I got the animal cruelty people out there. They were wonderful. They were out there within 24 hours, and I was hoping that would settle him down, but it didn't. He just got increasingly more bizarre. He spent most of the last couple years moving concrete blocks around and digging, constantly digging and moving dirt.
And Casper, did you see him with firearms, or were you aware of him having firearms?
I was told that he had firearms, and I know of a party that he had shot at. Also, the day of the incident, I was going uptown, and I came by and I saw the school bus parked there, and I saw him climbing over the fence. But I really didn't pay that much attention whether he had a gun, because the school bus wasn't even on his property. And by the sounds of it, I didn't get even to Midland City before he shot the bus driver.
And as
Rhonda,
far
were
as,
you aware, Rhonda, sorry, after you,
Go
Rhonda.
ahead. No, as far as him having weapons, he had two weapons that he always carried with him. He always would have a rifle sitting near him and a shovel. He almost decapitated one of my dogs with his shovel. I work late, I would come home at almost midnight, and he would be patrolling his fence line with his rifle and a flashlight. And he would shoot at anything that moved, any sort of, even a rabbit, a squirrel, a bird. There was not to be anything inside his fence. And I was very concerned because when he shot, it was always towards my house. There was even an incident where I was outside with my 6-year-old granddaughter, and he saw that I was talking to a neighbor, and he brought over a deer stand and put it over the fence, climbed up on it, and sat with his rifle in his lap, just watching my granddaughter and I. And so I grabbed my granddaughter and we went inside and stayed inside.
This
So, I mean, from all
you've
you've been telling me, I mean, Casper, I was going to ask you, I mean, from what you've both been telling me, a pretty scary individual. From what we hear, he was very anti-American, very anti-government, very insular, building this extraordinary bunker. He had arms and so on. Were you therefore surprised or shocked when you heard what had happened?
No, I wasn't. See,
not at all.
Just a little over a month ago, he shot at a friend of mine with his wife, baby, and mother in the truck. And the Dale County Sheriff came out, and the man told him he didn't have a gun. And the sheriffs didn't even look for the gun. So if they'd have looked for the gun and probably found it, this incident now wouldn't have taken place.
And that's the whole thing, is that this man has been an accident waiting to happen. He's been a ticking time bomb. But we live in an unincorporated area, and unless you have enough witnesses, there's nothing that you can do.
Well, Rhonda Wilbur and Catherine Mendix, thank you both very much for providing so much fascinating detail about this, and I really appreciate you coming on the show.
You're quite welcome.
Thank you.
And now I want to turn to today's Senate gun hearing. The NRA, gun control advocates, victims and police all in one room addressing one of the biggest issues in America today. The most dramatic moment, powerful testimony from former Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords. And joining me now is Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, a good friend of Gabby Giffords, also Chief James Johnson of the Baltimore County Police, chair of the National Law Enforcement Partnership to Prevent Gun Violence. Welcome to you both. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, a very, very powerful moment, I thought, involving not just Gabby, but also her husband, Mark Kelly. Gabby didn't speak for very long, but what she said carried huge resonance. Basically, a clarion call to Washington's politicians. This is the time you must act. What was your reaction watching your good friend?
Well, there was pride, and just my heart was full. She spoke with conviction, and she was resolute and determined to use the ability that she has in her strong and clear voice, even with the brevity of her remarks, to get across how imperative it is, the moral imperative that we have now to be courageous and be bold and do this for America's children.
Let's see a clip here from Gabby on the floor today.
We must do something. It will be hard, but the time is now. You must act. Be bold, be courageous. Americans are counting on you.
It really was incredibly impressive, and I thought very effective, because she made the point that she can't really speak that well, and it reminded everyone of the hideous injury she sustained. In terms of what she wants to achieve here, again, the powerful aspect to me is that both her and Mark Kelly are gun owners. They both used to fire, I think, at an NRA range and so on. They just believe that enough is enough and action must be taken. With all your political acumen, Debbie, how do you see this debate now playing out? Is there any realistic chance of, say, a renewal of the assault weapons ban?
Well, I think we have a realistic chance at getting some common sense reforms passed. I mean, I'm a glasses half full person, but I'll tell you why I'm optimistic. It's not just Gabby's strong voice and Mark's strong voice today, but for example, I had a roundtable here in South Florida today with about 10 gun rights supporters, NRA members, avid hunters, people who believe strongly in the Second Amendment, and to a person, they were supportive of universal background checks, of making sure that we deal with this in a comprehensive, common sense way. They said, look, the NRA doesn't speak for them. I mean, in my opinion, and in the opinion of so many, the NRA proved again today that they are essentially a fringe group now. And that what we need to do is have Americans from all across the spectrum on this issue come together and really give the moral authority and the courage that Gabby tried to convey today to legislators in the House and the Senate, so that we can come together and, we're not going to be able to, Rome wasn't built in a day. We're not going to be able to do everything that anyone could possibly dream up to solve this gun violence problem. But there are some basic things that we can do, not the least of which is making sure that every transaction of a sale of a gun has a background check attached to it, that we can keep those guns and those weapons out of the hands of people who don't belong.
Right, and it seems to me completely obvious that should happen. Chief Johnson, you're in charge of the police in Baltimore, and it's clearly a pretty violent city. You have a lot of gun violence to deal with. What was your take? You were up there today. What was your takeaway from the day and the sort of level of optimism you may feel about actual action being done?
Well, my jurisdiction surrounds the entire city of Baltimore, and as you've stated, the city itself has seen significant, gun violence, as well as other cities across America. I was very optimistic today. I thought today was a very long hearing, some 4 hours, where the National Law Enforcement to Prevent Gun Violence was able to get across to the room that we're looking for universal background checks. Nearly 40% of gun transfers are done outside of that background check process. We also are looking for a capacity on high-owned magazines, no more than 10 rounds, and certainly a ban on assault weapons. I think these and other measures taken, frankly, in the president's plan will make our nation a safer place.
Yeah, I want to play you a bit of sound, actually, that we've unearthed of Wayne Lapierre, the head of the NRA, who has been very vocal, and he was again today, that he doesn't believe in mandatory background checks. And that's not what he said in 1999. Let's watch this clip.
We think it's reasonable to provide mandatory instant criminal background checks for every sale at every gun show. No loopholes anywhere for anyone.
So there we have it. In Wayne Lapierre's own words, the man is a shameless hypocrite. I've asked him to come on the show many times. He always refuses, but there he is, 1999, absolutely endorsing a mandatory background check on all gun trades. Now he endorses the complete opposite. And it's hard to escape, I would argue, Debbie Wasserman Schultz's conclusion that he changed his mind because he realized that that would impact on gun sales and gun profits.
That's right. That's right. The NRA is nothing more now than a voice for gun manufacturers. They're not a voice for sensible solutions. They're not a voice of reason. They're not even the voice of the majority of gun owners on how to deal with reducing gun violence. And at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we do things like what Gabby and Mark are proposing through their organization, Americans for Responsible Solutions. We can solve this problem. I agree with the chief. We absolutely have the opportunity here. This is going to need to come from the grassroots, though, Piers. I mean, in order to give the members from tough congressional districts where the NRA is very powerful the courage of their convictions and the ability to cast the right vote, we're going to need Americans from all across this country to let their legislators know that they want us to do something and do something now.
That is true. We also need politicians with guts who are going to stand up and say, I'm going to have my voice counted and I'm going to act on my conscience and not just on the chance I may lose my seat. Deborah Wasserman Schultz and Chief Johnson, thank you both very much indeed.
Thank you.
Coming next, Tom Arnold, and later my exclusive interview with Michael Jackson's father. A very rare encounter with a very emotional Joe Jackson in parts. It's a fascinating interview. That's coming up later
on. Do you own an oil company? Well, if you have mutual funds or a pension or other investments, chances are you do. Learn more. Visit energytomorrow.org.
I was the strongest woman in the world, and something still went wrong. I had cancer. So I went to Cancer Treatment Centers of America for my treatment.
For Karen, we knew that we had to come up with an aggressive treatment plan. It included surgery, radiation therapy, and chemotherapy.
They cultivated an atmosphere where the people that work there love what they do, and they just treat patients like they were the most important patient there. In my mind, that's the way all healthcare should be.
If you or someone you love has complex or advanced stage breast cancer, go to cancercenter.com/breast. You'll see how our treatment results compare to national averages. You'll also learn why our patient satisfaction rating is over 95%.
After I went through something that you'd think could tear you down, it's built me up.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits. Appointments available now.
Hey, it's like the old days. It's better.
Get down with it.
3 friends have one night to get it right.
Give me the key.
It's a button, and this is like the future.
Stand-up guys. Rated R. Starts Friday.
Office Max knows tax time can be, well, taxing. So right now, we'll give you $10 off any TurboTax Deluxe level software or higher. Find thousands of big deals now at Office Max.
I am no ordinary student.
I control technology that's reinventing how education works.
I'm creating a network I'll use my whole career.
I don't fear the new economy. I am the new economy. We are the students of CTU, and if you're asking if we think the world revolves around us, no. But it certainly knows we're here.
CTU, the new direction of online education. Are you in?
Do you own an oil company? Well, if you have mutual funds or a pension or other investments, chances are you do. Learn more. Visit energytomorrow.org.
We will defend our people and uphold our values through strength of arms and rule of law.
We'll always fight for what we believe in, so you can hold on to your guns. And by guns, I'm being vague so as to suggest arm wrestling might be an interesting alternative.
Funny take on the president's address from actor and comedian Tom Arnold, the host of CMT's My Big Redneck Vacation. Tom knows jokes, but also has a serious side when talking about issues facing America. Tom, welcome back.
Well, it's good to be back, Pierce. You know, it's funny, I tweeted that I was coming on the show, and you have a lot of supporters.
Angry people out there.
Oh, my gosh, I've never seen anything like it. They're fired up.
It's funny, and also, because you do this show about rednecks, and you portray them in a very positive light, and people sort of assume I've got some issue with rednecks or people in Texas.
Rural people is what they say.
Right, and to me it's ridiculous. I toured all around America many times on America's Got Talent, went to many states which were supposedly full of people that are supposed to disagree with me about this. I can totally respect people's views. Here's where I was fascinated to talk to you, because you've used guns. You were brought up around guns.
I grew up in Ottumwa, Iowa. Everybody, we hunted, we did that. That's what we did. It's part of our culture.
And because of the show, you spend a lot of time, as I say, with with rednecks, and we'll use that phrase because it's in the title of the show.
They love the term.
Right. Where's the compromise here? Where do you see a sensible resolution to this? Because, as you rightly said, the problem is positions on the left and right in the extremity are so extreme. They tend to shout the loudest and dominate the debate.
That's right. Well, it's pretty simple for me. You know, these when I hunt, and I grew up hunting with my grandpa. It's one of the best experiences of my life. You know, I loved it. But we didn't see anybody out there with military-style assault weapons, and that's where you draw the line, because those guys. Now, if I was out hunting tomorrow and some kid shows up with one of those guns, we'd freak out. We'd be, very upset. That's not part of sport or part of the culture. They're posers. If they want to be in the military, join the frickin' military. You can't dress up like a military guy and put on a Purple Heart and walk around and act like you're in the military. And those guys, most rednecks think those guys are idiots. And that's a fact. And when people lump the rednecks all together, they do like to shoot. They do like sports. They do have guns, which they have the right to. But it's those crazy people that need to blow up meat, and that's all those guns do, is explode meat. They're not for hunting. They're not for any other purpose.
You see, I believe that too. I believe strongly that in places like Texas, Alabama, and other places, people assume that they would all completely disagree with me or the president or whoever it is who's trying to bring in some form of something to deal with the gun violence epidemic. I'm not sure that's true.
It's not, the rednecks on Big Redneck Vacation, they're an extended family of 14, and they have kids. And when you have kids, you think about it differently. Yeah. It's not all, crazy time. And so
you're about to be a father for the first time.
I am.
But that must have got you thinking about parenthood and being a father and all that comes with it. And it does change everything, I think, in terms of perspective.
Right. Well, you're more cavalier when you don't have kids.
Yeah.
You're like, whatever, I'm going to teach my kid, I'm going to do this, I'm going to teach him how to drink and shoot and whatever. And then you're having a kid, and it's a little different. Guns are very dangerous. I knew that growing up. I'm the oldest of 7 kids. The minute my dad left the house, we knew he had a semi-automatic rifle, and we knew he had a cartridge. And me and my 4 brothers would start searching and trying to break in. That was our goal. And little boys have that from the time they're born. They like cars and they like guns. And we wanted to get that thing and put it together. And one day we did. And we took it out in the street. And people could have got hurt. My dad came home and he beat our butts. And boys can't help themselves. And bad things happen if you have stuff around.
What strikes me as odd is that people think there's a kind of gun grabbing scenario,
right?
But nobody's actually asking to remove anybody's gun,
right?
No one's talking about confiscation,
right?
The president doesn't want it. I haven't said that. Nobody's talking about I want your guns.
But the crazy tweeters think you said
right, that. Right. But the situation, just trying to limit the number of these military-style weapons in circulation. Under the proposals put forward by Senator Feinstein, for example, there would still be 2,200 different types of gun legally available to Americans. That has to be enough, doesn't it?
Right.
To sate the shooters, the hunters, those doing it for sport.
Right. Well, here's the problem, too. The NRA, and they are a lobbying group, and people think, oh, I'm in the NRA, they look out for me. No, they sell guns, and they do a great job. And that Wayne LaPierre guy, he's doing a great job of trying to scare people into buying more guns. That's
And
what
it
he
works.
does. But you got to remember, Charlton Heston, when he said that, pry it out of my cold, dead hands, he was holding up an antique rifle. He wasn't holding up a AK-47 or AR-15 or whatever they are. And it's ridiculous. And now they aim it towards kids. Little kid, I always wanted to get guns for Christmas, you know, but it was 6-shooters when I was little. And if I'd seen those kind of guns potentially, any young boy is going to want, hey, that'd be awesome. And now they're aiming for kids. They're trying, like they used to do with BB guns with us kids.
They're targeting them, and they're making millions, billions of dollars. What's the way through? It seems to me the only way through is for the gun owners of America, the respectable ones, to come together and say, we get it, enough is enough. You need the background checks, you need the mental health investment, you need the assault weapons removed, you need all these things to come together. And you know what? If it saves one mass shooting from happening and saves a bunch of kids' lives, it's worth it for America.
And it'll save them shooting themselves. Because at gun shows, they accidentally shoot themselves all the time. I mean, these guns are dangerous. I think those are very reasonable. There's some people that we're just going to have to take their guns away from them, the assault weapons. When it's banned, you just can't have and go around with those. You'll have to get some other guns. You'll have to figure it out. But most people with any intelligence say, okay, this is, well, you know, they used to have M80s when I was a kid. They're like quarter sticks of dynamite, and that's what we use for firecrackers. And then they outlawed them because we were blowing off our hands. Now, if you take a bunch of regular firecrackers and tape them together, you could probably blow off your finger still. But it was common sense, and that's what it is with these guns. Yeah, it's common sense.
It totally is. Tom Arnold, great to see you. The third season of My Big Redneck Vacation airs Saturdays on
Great
CNBC.
show. Great show. Fun.
Me, you, and the Rednecks will sort this out.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. Thank you, man.
Coming next, my exclusive and emotional interview with Michael Jackson's father, Joe Jackson. That's coming up.
Keeping America Great. Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Responsibility. What's your policy?
Humans. One day we're coming up with the theory of relativity, the next, not so much. But that's okay. You're covered with great ideas like optional better car replacement from Liberty Mutual Insurance. Total your car and we give you the money to buy one a model year newer. Learn about it at libertymutual.com. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Responsibility. What's your policy?
I typed my name and date of birth, and step by step, decades were crossed. When I was lost, my ancestry tree showed me the way that led to you, and I saw you coming home. With the world's largest online collection of family history records, exploring your family's past has never been easier. Simply type in a name at Ancestry.com. Who will you discover?
I have low testosterone. There, I said it. How did I know? Well, I didn't really. See, I figured low testosterone would decrease my sex drive, but when I started losing energy and became moody, that's when I had an honest conversation with my doctor. We discussed all the symptoms, then he gave me some blood tests. Showed it was low T. That's it. It was a number, not just me.
Today, men with low T have Androgel 1.62% testosterone gel, the #1 prescribed topical testosterone replacement therapy. Increases testosterone when used daily. Women and children should avoid contact with application sites. Discontinue Androgel and call your doctor if you see unexpected signs of early puberty in a child or signs in a woman, which may include changes in body hair or a large increase in acne, possibly due to accidental exposure. Men with breast cancer or who have or might have prostate cancer, and women who are or may become pregnant or are breastfeeding should not use Androgel. Serious side effects include worsening of an enlarged prostate, possible increased risk of prostate cancer, lower sperm count, swelling of ankles, feet, or body, enlarged or painful breasts, problems breathing during sleep, and blood clots in the legs. Tell your doctor about your medical conditions and medications, especially insulin, corticosteroids, or medicines to decrease blood clotting.
So, what do men do when a number's too low? Turn it up.
In a clinical study, over 80% of treated men had their T levels restored to normal. Talk to your doctor about all your symptoms. Get the blood tests. Change your number. Turn it up. Androgel 1.62%.
Kelley Blue Book.
It's the trusted resource. And now, KBB.com has a whole new way to help you decide on your next new car by showing you what really matters. Use 5-year cost to own to compare the long-term cost of maintenance, insurance, and gas. Then, check fair purchase price and see what you should pay based on what others have paid. Everything you need to make a smart new car decision. KBB.com.
This is Karen and Jeremiah. They don't know it yet, but they're gonna fall in love. Get married, have a couple of kids, move to the country, and live a long, happy life together where they almost never fight about money. Because right after they get married, they'll find some retirement people who are paid on salary, not commission. They'll get straightforward guidance and be able to focus on other things, like each other, which isn't rocket science, it's just common sense. From TD Ameritrade.
It's hard to imagine, but it's been 3.5 years since Michael Jackson died. Millions of people around the world loved him, but of course no one knew him quite the way that his own father did. Joseph Jackson rarely gives interviews, but he joins me tonight exclusively, along with Dieter Wiesner, his former manager. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
So, Joe, I've interviewed almost every single member of your family, your wife, your sons, your daughters, Michael, and finally I get to interview the boss.
Yeah, the boss, yes.
The boss.
That's great. Yes, I'm glad to have you interviewing me because I'm going all over the world, and I just want all over the world to know me.
Everyone says the same thing about you. Very tough, but he had to be. That you wanted the best for your family, and you decided right from the start you were going to be firm, tough where you had to be, disciplined, and do what it took to give them the lives that many of them have since enjoyed. How do you respond to that?
Well, I had to be like that way because during those times it was hard, and you had a lot of gangs there, you know, in the area where we were living.
This is Gary in Indiana.
Gary, Indiana, and I had to make sure that they didn't get in any type of trouble and things of that sort.
What your children have told me, almost all of them, is that you found it hard, because you were tough with them and disciplined and wanted to be, you found it hard to be too demonstrative, to tell them too much that you love them. And some of them found that quite difficult to deal with.
Well,
and let me play you an example. I interviewed Janet.
Yeah, okay.
And she said this. Watch this clip.
One time I tried to call him Dad.
And what happened?
He said, no. He said, I'm Joseph. You call me Joseph. I'm Joseph to you. So your father tells you one time, you don't do it again. So I always call him Joseph.
Sad, isn't it? That he's...
Yeah, it is. I mean, I wish our relationship was different, but I know that he loves me.
So come on, why wouldn't you let your daughter call you Dad?
Well, you had all those kids running, hollering around and hollering, Dad, Dad, Dad. You know, it gets to be, sounds kind of funny to me, but I didn't care too much about what they called me, just as long as they was able to listen to me and what I had to tell them, you know, in order to make their life successful. That was the main thing. My kids was brought up in a way so they respect people, and they never was on drugs. They never went to jail. They wasn't in no gangs or nothing. They was brought up professionally and was nice, yes.
But do you have any regrets that you may have been a little bit too tough on some of them?
Well, I'm glad I was tough because look what I came out with. I came out with some kids that everybody loved all over the world. And they treated everybody right. You know, Michael, he was a nice guy, but under the world don't know anything too much about Michael as far how he was brought up. But he was brought up, I made sure that he respected the older people, yes.
Tell me about the young Michael and your relationship with him.
Michael was the type of kid, you know, he was a good kid and very easy to learn. And he hit one thing once, and he could really do it just like the person that he listened to doing it. And by him being that way, he was able to be Michael Jackson because he looked good on stage, and when he performed, everybody loved the way he did it because he was that good.
You physically disciplined your kids. Do you think parents today are too soft on their children? Do you think there's a lack of respect because of that?
Yeah, they are too soft. One of the reasons I say that is because kids nowadays are killing their parents in some cases, and the parents say, let's get into this beating thing. There's no such thing as beating a kid. You whip them and punish them for something they did, and they will remember that. So they remember it in such a way they wouldn't do it again. That's the way I was.
It's not like that anymore. You know, many people say, well, you know, you can't hit a child. I interviewed your wife, Catherine, and she said this about you.
I didn't think he was too tough, but back in those days, everybody raised their children about the same. If you did something wrong, it was terribly wrong, you got a scolding for it, and you also got a licking, as they called it. But today you can't do that. So Michael looked back at those times, and they said he was abused.
You know, in those days, kids was real bad, and the parents should have made sure, what I did, made sure that my kids was good kids. Made sure that they understood what I was trying to do. But since Michael got grown and has kids of his own, he understand what I was going through with.
Let's take a short break. Let's come back and talk about your life as a grandfather. You're a grandfather to Michael's 3 children, as well as others. I wanted to talk to you about whether you're as tough with them as you were with your own children. I suspect you're not. I bet you're a bit of a pussycat now, aren't you, Joe?
No, I'm a good
The utterly shocking sensation of being on a business trip where everything goes right, backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Feel the advantage. Feel the Hamptonality.
There is a change in the air. Things feel different, new, better. And tomorrow, they'll be better still. Inspired by our past, but driven by the future, we are becoming a new American.
We're all having such a great year in the Gulf, we've decided to put aside our rivalry.
Because all our states are great. And now's when the Gulf gets even better.
The beaches and waters couldn't be more beautiful.
Take a boat ride or just lay in the sun.
Enjoy the wildlife and natural beauty. And don't forget our amazing seafood.
So come to the Gulf. You'll have a great time.
Especially in Alabama.
You mean Mississippi.
That's Florida.
Say Louisiana, where there's no dessert.
Brought to you by BP and all of us who call the Gulf home.
People have doubts about taking aspirin for pain, but they haven't experienced Extra Strength Bayer Advanced Aspirin. In fact, in a recent survey, 95% of people who tried it agreed that it relieved their headache fast. Visit FastReliefChallenge.com today for a special trial offer.
So how did it go?
Well, Dad, spent my childhood living with monks learning the art of deal making.
You mastered monkey-style kung fu.
No, Priceline is different now. You don't even have to bid.
Master Han taught you all that?
Oh, and he says to say, Neja Dunkoi Mun.
Your accent needs a little work.
Are violent video games blameless in America's gun problem? Aaron Burnett investigates. Tomorrow night at 7 on CNN.
Feeling buried by all the piles of paper in your home or office? Maybe it's time you traded in the old filing cabinet for a new office assistant. Meet the Neat Desk Scanner and Organizer, the only scanner that actually thinks while it scans. With Neat Desk, all your important documents can be easily scanned and then organized with the NeatWorks software, so that shoebox full of receipts instantly becomes a manageable expense report. That stack of business cards can go directly into your computer's contact list. Virtually any piece of paper automatically becomes a searchable document that you can find with a simple keyword. And here's the best part. If you call or visit us at tryneat.com right now, you can try the Neat Desk or the amazing Neat Portable Scanner for 30 days absolutely free. We'll even pay for the return postage if you decide to send it back. That's how confident we are that you'll love your Neat organizer. So give us a call or go to tryneat.com for your 30-day free trial and say goodbye to all that paper.
Gloria, in her own words, CNN Sunday night, 7:30 Eastern.
Ever since I was born, Daddy has been the best father you could ever imagine. And I just wanted to say I love him so much.
Perhaps the most touching moment for many at Michael Jackson's memorial, the heartbreak of his daughter Paris. Back when exclusive is Michael's father, Joseph Jackson, and his former manager, Dieter Weiser. Tough for the kids, that, Joe, more than anybody, I felt. It was such a public thing, and poor Paris, you know, she's just a young girl who's lost her father. Very, very hard. What could you say to her, as somebody who's been through so much yourself? What did you say to her afterwards?
Well, Paris is, even Michael said, she's a piece of work, you know, because, you know, most girls are hard to raise. Pierce, they're hard to raise. They're more harder than boys. But she's a nice girl, and most girls takes to the father anyway, too, you know. But she's a good girl, but you have to work with her a little bit, too.
Are you as tough with Michael's kids, because he's not around, as you were with Michael and his siblings?
No. Those are my grandkids, and they'd be glad. I was just with them yesterday, you know. And so with Prince and Paris wouldn't get out of the bed, you know. She was still in the bed, but Prince and Blanket was there, and they were glad to. Matter of fact, Blanket was making a video himself.
Really?
Yeah.
And when you see them, does it take you back to when your kids were young? Do you see Michael in them?
In Blanket, I do.
Really?
Yeah, in Blanket, I see Michael there, yes. And, but they're good kids. They're being handled well, and Catherine was really looking at those kids, and they love their grandma. Yes, they really love her, and they obey her, too.
Where were you when you heard that Michael had died?
I was in Las Vegas. I got a call, Pierce. I got a call from a fan, and it says, "Mr. Jackson, say something is wrong. Say I see an ambulance there at Michael's place, and the ambulance took off, and the fire department following the ambulance. Something is wrong."
What did you do when you heard that after you took the call?
Well, the saddest part about the whole thing was Michael tried to reach me. He says, "Call my father." This is before he passed. He would know how to get me out of this. But they didn't get in touch with me. They said they couldn't find me, but I was right there. Now, what bothers me, when he called for my help, I couldn't help him.
What was your relationship like with Michael towards the end? Because there was a sense that he was surrounded by people that were kind of keeping the family away, and that the family couldn't get to him how they wanted to.
That's very true. You know, he was like, well, they treated him like Howard Hughes. You know, family couldn't get to him like they should have. And I think that was very wrong for that to happen. But I guess that they had a motive to keep family away, but I guess because they was saying to the fact that too many families hanging around may cause some type of a disturbance. But what we're trying to do with this young man, yes.
This huge concert tour that he had lined up, 50 concerts, knowing him as you did, do you think he was physically capable of doing that number of shows? Did you know he was doing that number of shows?
Yes, I did know he was doing that number of shows. And it was a reason why. It was a motive for those shows, because Michael was going to take that money and build a children's hospital. That's what he wanted to do, to build for all the sick kids there. He needed to make sure they had the right type of help.
When you speak about Michael with children like that, I can't not ask you about the court cases which scandalized his later years. As his father, how did you feel when he was accused of abusing children?
Well, you know, there was a reason why that happened, and they was trying to take control over Michael's life. Michael's paid out a lot of money. You know, whether it was something like $22 million, you know, to keep this thing hushed down.
Do you wish he'd never done that?
I wish he had never done that, but since he done it, the media, you know, didn't grab it as much as it did because it was hushed up. But Michael was afraid of the media because they would never get nothing right, you know.
Did Michael, at any stage, did his behavior ever worry you around children? And the reason I ask you is, a lot of people felt, here's a man in his 40s, mid-40s, having sleepovers with young boys. And most people would think that's inappropriate. Michael wasn't a normal guy. Everybody knows that. But did you ever worry that the perception of what he was doing wasn't good for him or his image?
Well, Piers, Michael was a big old kid himself. He was still had the mind of a kid. But he loved kids so much, and things that they didn't have, he tried to help them to have it.
You never saw anything that concerned you?
That's nothing concerned him.
You never felt...
We knew Michael.
Right.
We knew our son. We knew how we raised him. And we knew that, yes.
Let's take another break. Let's come back and talk more about Michael, more about his legacy, more about him as a businessman. I'll talk to you about that after the break.
Check out my new treadmill app. Pretty sweet, huh?
Cute, but don't you have any apps on your phone that can make your life easier?
Who do you think I am? Quicken Loans?
At Quicken Loans, we'll provide you with MyQL Mobile. This amazingly useful app allows you to take pictures of your mortgage documents using an iPhone or Android smartphone so you can easily send them to us. One more way Quicken Loans is engineered to amaze.
Nobody said an inkjet had to be slow, or that printing in color had to cost a fortune. Nobody said an all-in-one had to be bulky, or that you had to print from your desk. At least, nobody said it to us. Introducing the Business Smart Inkjet All-in-One series from Brother. Easy to use, it's the ultimate combination of speed, small size, and low-cost printing.
I'm Margaret Belton, and this is my father, Kevin Belton.
This is Grandpa Wilf, and we'd love to find out more about him.
This is so cool.
Look at the picture.
You're finding out the secrets.
Make your own discoveries with the help of Ancestry.com. Start searching for free right now.
I was 17 when I joined the KGB. Never had a boyfriend. They put me with you. We didn't know each other. When we got here, I was 22 years old, living in a strange house, in a strange country with a strange man. And then...
The Americans premieres tonight at 10, only on FX.
Cunol CoQ10 is a powerful antioxidant that supports heart health and promotes healthy blood pressure. Cunol dissolves completely and absorbs 3 times better than regular CoQ10. Get the better CoQ10. Get Cunol, the gold standard in CoQ10.
I take care of everything at my flower shop. I handle arrangements, deliveries, I'm even the cashier. Square makes everything a little easier. I can take credit cards right on my phone. The card reader is free, it's easy to use, plus it's only 2.75% per swipe. I'm not paying any hidden fees or reading confusing bills. And I'm selling more bouquets than ever.
Start accepting credit cards today. Get your free Square card reader at square.com.
From Washington, a special town hall event. Anderson Cooper brings all sides of the gun debate together. AC 360, Guns Under Fire. Tomorrow night at 8 Eastern on CNN.
Testing will now commence. Administer odor-causing agent. Administer bleeding deodorant. Administer DeodorWorks.
Don't just cover up odors. Eliminate them with DeodorWorks.
DeodorWorks is also suitable for women.
There's no greasy feeling, no rashes or bumps, no chemicals, no perfumes. To order, go to deodorworks.com or call 800-867-4028. We're so sure you'll love this product that if you're not completely satisfied, return it for a full refund. Stainless steel works. DeodorWorks.
Wolf Blitzer talks with Kevin Spacey about his game-changing new series, House of Cards.
Back with me now exclusively is Michael Jackson's father, Joseph, and his former manager, Dieter Weiss. Dieter, we'll come to Michael's business side in a moment. I just want to ask you one thing, Joe. Do you wish you'd been able to do more for Michael towards the end? Do you wish you'd been able to get in there, get him away from these drugs, get him away from all the doctors?
I tried very hard, and many times, but I couldn't get to him. Just like I told you earlier, that they treated him just like Howard Hughes. You know, you couldn't.
I find that a fascinating analogy, Howard Hughes. I studied a lot of Howard Hughes' life, and by the end, he was completely protected. I mean, you couldn't get past the walls to get near him. And it seemed like Michael, in his last few months, that was his life too.
Yeah. But that's the way it was, and it was hard to get to. And maybe, you know, his mother could get to him better than me, because naturally, you know, Catherine is a very good woman, and I love her much, and still do. And right now, they're trying to get my wife to divorce me. Yeah.
Really?
But, yes, but that'll never happen. You know, the people that surrounded them.
When you say they, Joe, who are you talking about?
People that surrounded them, around my wife, and people that's involved with her.
Are these family members? Or any of your children?
Some are, none of my kids, no, because they're not like that. It's other people that's around. And
they're trying to get you divorced so that they can get their hands on Michael's money, or what is it?
Well, they got motives, you know. They get, if they get Michael's mother away from me, then me away from the mother, then they got a free hand. Right now, I'm in their way, you know. I'm the strong one. But the point is this: there will never be a divorce. And I was with her last night.
And do you still love each other?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if I didn't, then there would be some divorces going on, but it'll never be a divorce, Piers. And she'll tell you that.
I mean, she did say the same to me. You've been through so much. You know?
Yeah. But
I mean, the problem is that Michael's empire is hugely valuable, and it will always attract sharks. Let me bring you in here, because you were a business manager for Michael for a very long time. You've brought some fascinating tapes. These are audio tapes. And I want to just go through some of this, because I once interviewed Michael in the late 90s, and I was struck that there was another Michael Jackson here, the businessman. And I want to play a tape before I come to you. This is him discussing with you, I think, about a plan to buy Marvel, the comic business, back in 2001 or 2, I think it was. Let's listen to this.
We could easily go into Universal and buy. We would own Jaws, E.T., Close Encounters, you know, all the classics from Universal. Own all of that stuff. And that will allow us to do a channel. Part of the Marvel channel can be not only the Marvel characters, but Marvel films, like the catalog. We could do anything we want, from restaurants to retail, theme parks.
Now, you actually got the financing in place, I believe, for this deal. Then came the scandal court cases, and it all got put on the back burner. Disney ended up buying Marvel and doing exactly what Michael had predicted and making a fortune at it. Tell me about this.
That was the second part of his life. He did want to do this, and he knew exactly any single detail what he wants to do. And he was absolutely right. Because he was saying, so the music career, I cannot do more than that what I did. That's it. And I have the Beatles catalog on one side. If I buy this Marvel catalog, he has a second part, a big part in his life. He would be the richest person in the world.
Yeah, he understood the power of owning rights to things.
Right.
I mean, I remember Paul McCartney giving an interview saying he couldn't even play some of his own songs because Michael had bought them. But that, you know, he realised the power of publishing rights, which is the same in music and movies and television and all of it. There were lots of reports when Catherine went missing for a few days that some of the members of the family, the siblings, had all fallen out with each other. What is the truth?
Truth is that they had a big fight up there, and I wasn't there, so it would have been much different if I had been there. But you don't cut a tree down by cutting the top of it. Don't care how tall a tree is by cutting the top of it down. You start at the bottom.
And Michael's 3 children, how are things going to work out for them? Are they going to have a lot of money, or are you going to try and protect that, make sure they're not too rich, too young?
Wait, I don't think you can get too rich too young. You can get rich and be young with young rich kids. Well, you know, the trust is being set up for them, and I think that just started just recently, you know. But they do get monies, you know, going into a trust, retirement situation. Yeah, I don't know how much, but I know it's something.
Let me play you one last clip of Michael talking, which is very prophetic, given what we've just been discussing.
We don't want to die knowing that we didn't accomplish our goals. I want to die knowing I did it. I did everything I wanted to do, and I did it my way, you know? That's it. We changed the world.
What would you like Michael's legacy to be?
I like his legacy to be that's what he wanted to be. Want everybody to care about him and to love him and keep doing the things that what he wanted to do. And he wanted to make people happy all over the world. You see, Piers, Michael's situation, if the world was like Michael, there would never be any wars. Everybody would get along. And that's the type of kid he was.
Joe, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. It's fascinating. You're one of the most iconic fathers in the history of American entertainment, and I've never had a chance to sit down with you. I think you've been very honest, and I've enjoyed it.
Are we ending up with this now or what?
What else would you like to say?
Yeah, well I got a documentary coming out.
Please.
And it's a big one.
Tell me about it.
It's a big one. It's called Journey in My Shoes. And the reason it ain't out yet because I'm making sure everything is right. It goes all the way back to the Native American family.
And what is the thesis of the documentary?
The Journey in My Shoes.
Yeah, tell me what it's about.
It's about my life story.
Right from start to finish.
Right from start to finish, coming up.
Joe, it's been a riveting interview. Thank you so much. I wish we could talk for longer, but we've run out of time. But it's been a great insight into your son. I'm so glad that you came and talked.
Yeah, I can get a chance to promote
Joe,
my other stuff.
Great to see you.
And buy my stuff.
Dita, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Listening to the tapes was fascinating, and he was a complex man, Michael, in many ways, a great businessman, amazing entertainer, and a great son, I think, and someone who had a father who maybe got a pretty rough rap over the years, perhaps unfairly. Joe, thank you very much.
You take care, man.
Dita, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Joe Jackson, Dita Wednesday, and we'll be right back.
Oh, this is soft. This is so soft.
Hey, hon, remember you only need a few sheets.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so soft, you'll have to remind your family they can use less. Charmin Ultra Soft is made with extra cushions that are soft and more absorbent. Plus, you can use 4 times less.
I hope you save some for me.
You and the kids.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin Ultra Soft?
The American dream is of a better future, a continent retirement. Those dreams have taken a beating lately. but no way we're going to let him die. Ameriprise Advisors can help keep your dreams alive like they helped millions of others by listening, planning, working one-on-one. And that's what Ameriprise Financial does. And that's what they can do with you. That's how Ameriprise puts more within reach.
You know my heart burns for you.
I'm up next, but now I'm singing the heartburn blues.
Hold on, Prilosec isn't for fast relief. Cue up Alka-Seltzer. It stops heartburn fast.
Oh, what a relief it is.
Premieres tonight at 10, only on FX.
Now get a $350 airfare credit, plus save up to 65%. Call your travel agent or 1-800-SANDALS. Certain restrictions apply.
After the town hall on guns, Piers Morgan talks to Anderson Cooper and the experts. Where does the battle go from here? Tomorrow night at 9 on CNN.
Feeling buried by all the piles of paper in your home or office? Maybe it's time you traded in the old filing cabinet for a new office assistant. Meet the Neat Desk Scanner and Organizer, the only scanner that actually thinks while it scans. With Neat Desk, all your important documents can be easily scanned and then organized with the NeatWorks software, so that shoebox full of receipts instantly becomes a manageable expense report. That stack of business cards can go directly into your computer's contact list. Virtually any piece of paper automatically becomes a searchable document that you can find with a simple keyword. And here's the best part. If you call or visit us at tryneat.com right now, you can try the Neat Desk or the amazing Neat Portable Scanner for 30 days absolutely free. We'll even pay for the return postage if you decide to send it back. That's how confident we are that you'll love your Neat Organizer. So give us a call or go to tryneat.com for your 30-day free trial and say goodbye to all that paper.
AC360, Guns Under Fire. Tomorrow night at 8 and 10 on CNN.
That's all for us. Tomorrow, Anderson Cooper hosts a special town hall, Guns Under Fire, and we'll follow Anderson's show with much, much more on the #1 issue facing America. That's tomorrow night. And Anderson Cooper starts right now.
Piers, thanks. Good evening, everyone. It is 10 o'clock here in the East Coast, and tonight in the program, it was as powerful a moment as you could imagine. Gabby Giffords, whose life was changed forever by a deranged gunman, back on Capitol Hill today. She spoke with difficulty on a subject that's neither easy nor simple, preventing another massacre like Tucson or Newtown from happening. Keeping them honest tonight, though, why figuring out what the right thing to do is so very difficult and why the facts are so hard to come by. Also in the program tonight, what it's like to live through this, a terrifying moment at the Winter X Games, a snowmobile flipping, landing on its rider. There was another incident where a snowmobile went careening into spectators, and why people are now taking a closer look at extreme sports. We begin, though, in rural Alabama with a little boy's life at stake. A 6-year-old with Asperger's syndrome who needs medication is being held by a suspected killer in a bunker that's now surrounded by authorities. Authorities have not released the suspect's name, but neighbors say he is 65-year-old Jimmy Lee Dykes. They say he's a survivalist. They call him paranoid and volatile. He was due in court today in connection with an allegedly armed run-in last December with some former neighbors. Instead, he is in that bunker in his front yard with a 6-year-old child. Now, the standoff began yesterday when a gunman, allegedly Dykes, stepped onto a school bus demanding 2 boys. When the bus driver tried to stop him, the gunman fired 4 shots, which killed the driver, a 66-year-old man named Charles Poland Jr. He is being hailed as a hero tonight. The gunman got away with 1 child who, as we said, is right now in that home-built bunker. CNN's George Howell is on the scene for us tonight. Also with us, former FBI hostage negotiator Byron Sage. And because the suspect allegedly holds extremist views, according to neighbors, Mark Potok of the Southern Poverty Law Center. George, you're on the ground there. What's the latest?
Well, Anderson, you know, first and foremost, the welfare of this 6-year-old boy. Investigators just a short time ago came out to announce that they don't believe that he has been hurt or harmed